I bring you good greetings, good tidings. And this day, I just want to encourage you. Have you been crying? Have you been weeping? The Bible says that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Have you been crying? I have a good news for you. And what is that good news? That there is a God who has ears to hear your cry. The Bible says in Psalm 107, verse 6, it says, Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them out of their distress. Then they cried out to the Lord. Who have you been crying out to? Who have you been running to? I want to tell you that it is better to cry out to the Lord than to cry to man. Man cannot help you, but there's a God in heaven who can help you. David was right. He said, I lift up my eyes to the hills, from where will my help come from? And he answered and said, my help comes from the Lord who made the heaven and earth. Why are you going to cry when there is no help? There is help in the Lord because God has ear to hear your cry. I don't know what has been making you to cry. You cannot sleep in the night. You have soaked your pillow with tears. Tears of bitterness, hopelessness. Today I have good news for you. There is a God who has ear. His ear is not deaf to hear you. Cry to him. Cry to him. In Exodus chapter 3 verse 7, Moses and the children of Israel, the Bible said they cried out to the Lord. He said, and then the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry because of their taskmasters and their oppressors. For I know their sorrow and their suffering and their trials. God was saying in verse 8, that's Exodus chapter 3, verse 8 now. He said, and I have come down to deliver them out of the hand and the power of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land to a good land, a large land, flowing with milk and honey, a land of plenty. I don't know, you may be a Christian, but you are still under the taskmaster. The taskmaster of the Egyptians are still dealing with you. God said, I have heard your cry. He said, I have heard you. He said, I have come down to deliver you. Stop running from pillar to post, seeking for help where there is no help. Your help is only in the Lord. He said, I have heard your cry. He said, he has heard that cry you are crying. The Egyptian taskmasters, they have not allowed you to make progress. They have not allowed you to prosper. And God said, I have come down. What did he come down to do? He said, to deliver you. He has come that he will deliver you. Turn your heart to Jesus. Turn your heart to God. The Bible says in Psalm 34, verse 6, he said, this poor man cried out, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his trouble. It's not only poor people that cry, oh, even the rich, they also cry. They also cry. But this man in Psalm 34, the Bible says, this man cried to who? To God, to the Lord. Maybe your cry has been going to the wrong place. Your cry has been in the wrong avenue. Turn to God. Turn to Jesus. Let him see that you cry. He will clean that tears. He is ready. He is not deaf. He is hearing you. He said he wants to take you out of that your desperate situation. He wants to take you out of that your suffering. He wants to take you out of the land of Egypt. Cry to him. You are crying in the wrong place. You are crying crying to the wrong people. Why are you crying to the wrong people? You better stop that. We saw also Moses. After God took them out of Egypt, the Egyptians still followed them. And they were between the Egyptians and the Red Sea. And the Bible says that the children of Israel, they cried out to the Lord. They cried out, is the Egyptians behind you? And there's Red Sea before you. You don't know which way to go. Cry out to the Lord. And God told them that they should be still, that today they will see his salvation. And they saw the salvation. God told them, the Egyptians that you see today, you will not see it again. You will not see them again. Are there Egyptians confronting you? Egyptians confronting you? God said you will not see them again. But you need to connect to God. You need to be connected to God for you to benefit this. To benefit from this. Moses, they cried and God heard them. What about blind Bartimaeus? Blind Bartimaeus was a blind man. No eyes. He heard about Jesus. He asked the people, why is there so much noise? And they told him that Jesus was passing by. The Bible said that he cried and he said, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy upon me. The Bible says Jesus stopped and asked his disciples to call him. Jesus asked his disciples to call Bartimaeus. Even though initially the disciples were telling him, shut up. Or are you among people, you are crying to God and people are telling you to keep quiet, that you cannot receive help from God. That's a lie. Blind Bartimaeus cried to the Lord until Jesus stopped and said, tell him to come. And when Jesus stopped and told him to come, he asked him, what do you want me to do? He said, I want to see. And Jesus made him go. He saw. He cleaned out tears. What about Hannah? Hannah was barren. No child. She was crying for Penina because Penina was taunting her daily. I don't know what is your Penina that have been taunting you. But the day Hannah, the Bible recorded that Hannah arose and she went into the temple and cried to the Lord. She made Eli the priest, and the priest said, go, that God has heard your prayer. Turn that cry to the Lord. Turn your cry to the Lord, because God has ears to hear you. I pray that as you listen to this message, that you turn your heart to the Lord. He doesn't forsake his own. God bless you.